5th year at the Risen Christ School. I'm going to tell you a lot more about the school, but I'd like to note that it's the only Catholic school in Minnesota providing quality dual language education to the diverse, primarily Hispanic community learners. St. Joan of Arc is proud of our relationship with Risen Christ. We have many people who volunteer there, ask around. And it's my hope as pastor that SJ can continue and even increase our support for this excellent, much-needed school. Tell us more, please welcome Mr. Rogers.
I thought he was kidding. When he told me I'd have theme music. I'm a little thrown off now. And I'm also seated next to T. Michael Rambo, so my singing also feels inadequate. But I'm very happy to be here with all of you here at St. Joan of Arc this morning. Thank you for the invitation. Father Jim, Julie, thank you to everybody for having me here today. Just like St. Joan of Arc's mission is to welcome all wherever they are on their journey, the same is really true of Risen Christ Catholic School, which is located right here in South Minneapolis, just a few blocks south of Powderhorn Park. We welcome all families, many of whom have actually made a physical journey to be at our school, from places like Mexico, Ecuador, and elsewhere. Risen Christ was founded in 1993 and has evolved quite a bit over that period of time until today. And we are currently a school that primarily serves low-income Latino families. We are kindergarten through 8th grade school, and we currently have 338 students this year. Over 90% of our students qualify for free or reduced price lunch, which is the general indicator that we use in schools all over the country to indicate students who are living in poverty. 90% of our students are also Latino, and for almost 90% of them, English is not their first language. And if we look at the entire Archdiocese and all the Catholic schools here, at Risen Christ we actually educate 1/5 of all the Latino students in Catholic elementary schools in this diocese. And we educate 1/4 of all English language learners in Archdiocesan elementary schools. And our mission is to meet these students where they currently are, and our mission is to be bilingual, multicultural, and financially accessible. Specifically, I want to talk to you about how we provide a Catholic education to those who might not otherwise have access to one. And it turns out that, unfortunately, this is kind of a radical idea, that we would educate students in our Catholic school even if they cannot afford to pay. Most Catholic schools are quite expensive, but the average student is able to attend Risen Christ for about $50 to $60 per month. And that's thanks to the support of many individual donors that we have, many foundations, and a number of parishes like St. Joan of Arc. And if we look at the geography of Catholic education, especially here in the United States, Latinos are typically one of the most underserved populations in our schools. And yet, children of Latino families make up more than half of all Catholics under the age of 18. About 60% of school-age Catholics in the United States identify as Hispanic or Latino, but nationally, less than 3% are able to attend a Catholic school. And that's why Risen Christ exists. To serve the growing Latino population here in South Minneapolis, Risen Christ transitioned a number of years ago into being a dual immersion school. A dual immersion school like ours, what this means is that we are honoring the native language of our families and of the students, which for most of them is Spanish. We are educating children in both languages. Children in kindergarten through 5th grade, like you see up on the screen here, they are learning half of their day in English and half of their day in Spanish. And because of the miracle of the child brain, they actually are able to absorb all of this in an extraordinary way. And in fact, students who are enrolled in dual immersion schools typically end up with better English skills and better Spanish skills than students who are not. Now you may know, if you know a little bit about education, you know that the state of education here in Minnesota in particular is less than ideal, especially for students of color, African American, Latino students in particular. Minnesota, unfortunately, has one of the worst achievement gaps in the nation. So that's the difference between how well white students perform versus how well students of color perform. And instead of calling it an achievement gap, one of the things that we like to call it is an opportunity gap. Because unfortunately, many students of color in Minnesota, especially in Minneapolis and St. Paul, do not have access to high quality educational options. But that's what we provide at Risen Christ. And what we pride ourselves on is that a Risen Christ education creates opportunity for the families that we serve. And it opens doors to them, which can help lead them to a bright future. In a typical year, over 75% of our graduates are accepted to a Catholic high school, and many also go on to high-quality charter schools and public schools. And if we look at standardized test scores for the 2019, the year just ended, our students at Risen Christ who graduated in 2019 outperformed their peers in Minneapolis public schools in both reading and math, and they outperformed the state average for students living in poverty. So as I mentioned, we pride ourselves on ensuring that the students who graduate from our school after they leave in 8th grade, that they are prepared for high school, that they have a strong foundation of faith to guide them in the next steps on their journey, that they are prepared to break the cycle of poverty that many of them have grown up in, and that they have all doors open to them. Families at Risen Christ, unfortunately, as you can probably guess, many of them have faced a lot of trauma and adversity. Many of our students live under what is now a psychological condition called toxic stress. So they have the stress simply of maybe not having or being concerned about not having enough food to eat, up to even more serious concerns such as worrying that mom or dad could be deported. We have students who have seen their siblings kidnapped. We have students who have not seen one parent for years. We have students who have lost a parent to deportation, and sometimes we hear about tragedies even greater, like one of our students whose father was murdered in Mexico at Christmas time. A very important part of what we do beyond the academics is that we are a support system for our students and for their families. We are a refuge for them. We are the safe place that exists in their lives, and we are stability for them. We offer a number of social services programs for our students to help connect them with resources out in the wider community to serve whatever needs their families might have. We even have a program on Fridays where volunteers come in, many of them, some of them from St. Joan of Arc, where they come in and they provide a backpack full of food for a child to help them get through the weekend when they are away from our school. And we have a social worker from Catholic Charities who is there full-time, and a free before school program so that our students are cared for and safe. So all of this that we do at Risen Christ, and this is just a small part of it, really would not be possible without the support of hundreds, if not thousands, of people. Individual donors, foundations, grant makers, community partners, and parishes like St. Joan of Arc. I'm very proud of the fact that at Risen Christ on any given day, you're almost guaranteed to have a St. Joan of Arc parishioner volunteering in our school building, and sometimes many more than one. And in order to provide a financially accessible Catholic education, we basically fundraise about $2 million per year to operate the school. So again, this is kind of radical, right? So I encourage you, now that I've given you a little taste of Risen Christ Catholic School, I encourage you to learn more, and there are a couple of ways that you can do this. I'll be in the Welcome Center back behind the gym here after Mass. You can come and chat with me. I have some materials also about our school to help you learn a little bit more. We have many volunteer opportunities at our school for whatever skill set you might have that you want to put to use for the children. And of course, we welcome your generosity as individuals and as a parish. And finally, we have our large fundraiser, our gala, coming up on April 23rd. I have invitations in the back. And that is really a wonderful opportunity to gather a group of people together to support our school. But most of all, more than any of these things, please pray for the students of Risen Christ. They need all the prayers that they can get. And I'm grateful for your support so that we can have a school like Risen Christ available to serve the families in our community that are most in need.